Well, thank you for having me, first of all. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you all for joining us. I am in South Florida, beautiful South Florida, although it's raining today. I serve Fort Lauderdale, Miami, and some of the areas in the Palm Beach County, all the way up even to Hutchinson Island, where I did a multi-million-dollar new construction build with a client that was extraordinary. So if I don't cover it, then I know someone else that does, because my national network is very strong with top agents and amazing people across the country that I can count on. So I'm anxious to get going, anxious to answer any questions you might have, and to share my story.
Well, and you had mentioned that connection. So I know we're in Gary's, top agent group together. I think there's another group that you belong to that again, you guys pass referrals back and forth. What group is that?
Well, myself and a couple other people from the top 100 started a group over about maybe 2 years ago. And we had a vision. It wasn't just about referrals, it was masterminding. And I love that group because that's exactly what we do. We share materials, we share ideas, we grow together, we complement each other in so many ways. And like you said about really networking, we absolutely love family reunion because that's when I set up a big, fabulous dinner in an enclosed room. What someone said, oh, you don't need an enclosed room. I said, yes, I do. That's when we're quiet and private and we can share everything. And it literally is the highlight of our family reunion. So those connections are extraordinary and we hold them very dear to our heart.
I love that. I love that. And I was fortunate in Vegas. Feels like it was last month, but I think it was a month and a half ago, whenever it was. I'm just telling you, for you guys who haven't had the pleasure of joining us there, Atlanta next year, San Antonio for Mega Camp this year. Do join in because again, I'm going to make sure that we have some nice small intimate groups that we can actually get together and chit chat and learn and grow from each other. So again, collaboration is the key. So I appreciate sharing that. So, Lord, I sorry for interrupting you, but I know that I wanted to start, and if you'll remember, we talked about when you started from the beginning, you were extremely purposeful about one thing. Tell us again what that one thing is.
Well, from the very beginning, I wanted to be a luxury agent. It wasn't something that curated over a period of time. I immediately knew that I wanted to be a luxury agent. So I did everything I needed to do to learn about luxury, to do open houses, to do whatever I can to brand myself, because it's so very important when you enter the luxury phase of your career, or even if at the beginning when you want to do it, you're very purposeful about how you brand yourself. You can brand yourself with $100,000 houses, or you could put mansions up on social media. Make sure you go to them, make sure you know the area, make sure you're connecting with the right people. So I purposely led a luxury lifestyle even before I was really in it, if that makes sense.
It does, and I think that was so key. I wanted because there's a couple of people on here that have only been in this a short while, and I think it's important for them to know that no, that's how you started from the beginning. And I think you were so purposeful about it. Most of us don't have that luxury. I was happy. I mean, I was in this darn business for freaking 9 months before I even did my first deal. And when I think back on it, I think it was a $90,000 property, right? But again, you were purposeful about it, and I think you can do that. I've got friends who really kind of want to work in the commercial space, and I'm thinking then immediately you brand yourself as that expert, even though you might not have done one transaction yet, right? And I think today in the world we live in, branding is so important. But thanks for sharing that piece there. Now,
Absolutely.
you now do I understand it correctly? Were you an attorney, or
So
you work with attorneys?
I am an attorney, licensed in New York, New Jersey, and Colorado. Crazy person that took 3 bars. I am also a certified public accountant in the state of Florida, and New Jersey and Colorado, but I only hold my license here in Florida. A couple of people had asked me about that. So at any point when you want to delve into it, we'll talk about advocacy, a little bit about that past that led me to be the person I am today. I'm a high I, high D driver. I always have been, always will be. But there's some things in my past that really led me purposely and beautifully into the real estate field that I absolutely love. As
Well,
an
let's talk on it
attorney,
now.
I couldn't
Now.
be friends with my criminal defense clients, or as an auditor, I couldn't be friends with the people in the city of Coral Gables. They didn't like me. So, but anyway, it's wonderful to be in this area where I can take all the expertise that I worked 35 years for and combine it together and give my luxury and ultra luxury clients what they demand.
Well, and again, you spoke, and I said that the operative word is advocacy, because you're a true advocate for your clients, your luxury clients, and what we know is that when we say luxury, it's not about a price point; it's always about an experience. So speak on that, because I think you talked about all your experiences. I think woven you into this beautiful fabric that you are today. So again, there is history there. Chat about that briefly.
Well, the brief history is I was the individual that started the Second Innocence Project in our country at the Rutgers School of Law. I started it in the Constitutional Litigation Clinic, and I worked under the esteemed Professor Askin. I did that teaching students as a student for a year and a half, and then I gave them a commitment when I went to the felony division in the public defender's office to run that for another 2 years. So what we did there was advocate for people that are actually innocent, not factually innocent. So they're actually innocent, mostly of life or death penalty, related punishments. So the most severe crimes, and I actually litigated them in the courts. Now, you can only imagine the amount of advocacy that is necessary for something like that, because back in the day, we also introduced the first DNA testing in the state of New Jersey, which was astronomical for the whole entire country. Back in the day, it wasn't sexy to do that. All right. It really wasn't. It was like, oh, who is this person that's advocating? But I would say, and it applies everywhere across the board, if you believe in something, and most importantly, yourself, if you believe in something, you will achieve anything you set your mind to. I mean that. I mean anything. And so in that regard, crazy. I didn't even share this with you, Ben, but yes, I was involved in bringing the Italian Parliament and the Pope and Mother Teresa, who invited me to Calcutta to stay with her. Personal, appearance in a private meeting with Pope John Paul. It sounds crazy, but when you are convinced that you can make a difference, you will make a difference. Even in real estate, all you have to do is have that mindset and manifest it, and that manifestation will come to you.
That is how somebody just said you're a badass. And I'm like, that is so true. Thanks for sharing that. I'm like, I already knew it. That's the reason why I was so excited about having you on. And I had no idea. No idea about all that.
I
But
don't
what
usually share that part.
well, again, see, you don't need to. You don't
Yeah.
need to because you weren't led by publicity. You were led by just doing.
Yes.
And I think so many of us here were doers, and I love that. I I don't even know where to go from there because you threw a curveball at me.
Well, what I'll say is you wanted to transition into advocacy for your clients.
Yes.
So for me, when I take a client on, whether it's a $17.5 million penthouse that I did, or a $7 million double-sided deal in Southwest Ranches, or someone that is selling a $350,000 condo, I will treat them the same. Now, bear in mind what I mean by that. I treat them the same that I expect, myself and my staff. It's myself as a top solo agent with a transaction coordinator, showing assistant. I have a team behind me. The picture you see behind you is a picture taken by my pilot daughter. I have an aviation division in the St. John group, so I can bring people along the coast. It's a coastline that's our plane that we were in, the Cessna, from Fort Lauderdale all the way down to Key West. So those type of services, some of them are truly unique, but everyone wants great communication. Everyone wants you to be a fantastic, strong negotiator. Everyone wants you to have great networking. It doesn't matter whether you're a $300,000 client or a $10 million client. They all want the same thing, but the manner in which you communicate with people and how you come across is very different in all of those price levels.
100%. Wow. And it's about the experience. I love that. I can't wait to get down there because I'm like, I don't know if I need to be in the Cessna, but I do I want to capture one of those views from probably a high rise that you're marketing. So I can't wait. So wow.
You're
Um,
welcome anytime.
well, okay, so I'm throwing you in a different direction, but when you talk about advocacy in that group, do you know Maya Moore? Because Maya and because the NCAA championships, the men just wrapped up last night. The women wrapped up on Sunday. And you remind me of something. Maya Moore, she was a WNBA champion at UConn. She gave up her career for this same advocacy uh, in helping true innocent, people that were already incarcerated get out of that situation. And I think that one gentleman in particular, if I'm stating this correctly, she was so much behind him, she ended up marrying him. And she has also led a very similar program that you're in. And that's been her life's mission and work now. And she walked away from the WNBA and the money there. And it's not like she was making millions and millions like the men do, but it's similar to what you were doing. She was so passionate about serving those people who have been wrongly accused and incarcerated and those things. I was just curious if you even knew Maya Moore. Mm-hmm.
No, back in the day, I worked with Barry Scheck from the Innocence Project in New York. He started the first one. I worked with the American Bar Association. I worked with the highest legal minds in the country because I was helping to file petitions in the United States Supreme Court because we got all the way up to the court. I was helping to do a lot of things. I even worked with the investigator that did the Timothy McVeigh bombing. So,
Oh my,
all of the, but what I'm saying is that it's never about you. All right.
yeah.
I always thought, I might have grown up with, Attorney General as my father. So I had a little, background, knew a little bit about what it was. But I always said, what if I grew up in a neighborhood that wasn't like that? What if I grew up in that circumstance and I got caught up? Wouldn't I want someone to give me a voice? Wouldn't I want help? Of course I would. So to me, it's all about thinking about what the other person needs, anticipating what they need and believing them, not being skeptical, having a big heart and helping as many people as you can in the world. Because at the end of the day, that's what makes a difference.
And you and I both know, and everyone here, I think it's the old Zig Ziglar. We know that truly, if we just serve and help enough people get what they want, we're very well taken care of. We get what we want, right? And I
Yes.
think sometimes that's what being a true advocate is all about. I'm not worried about me because I know me will be very well taken care of. So thank you for sharing that because I think it gives some real insight as to who you are, the way you're led, your heart. I believe it's the reason why you have risen to the highest of heights in this industry that we're in, because you're a high I, which I am too. You're a high B, I'm an S,
Yeah.
right? That's who I am. But again, keep doing you.
Thank
Because
you.
I think we've still got a ways to go in this industry till the good Lord takes us away. There are more people who need our help, who need service at the highest level, and you've done it forever. Keep doing it, sweetheart. I appreciate you. Um, let's chat briefly about your relationships again. And for you, it's about luxury, but like we said, it's luxury at all levels. It's just the experience, not necessarily the price range. But aren't you a luxury ambassador for us?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm in Luxury Pro, but I'm also the Luxury Market Center liaison. So
Okay.
we are tasked with growing the luxury division of our market center. Some of them are more known and more more, I guess, there's more luxury in certain market centers than others. You have to bring it to
Yeah.
yourself. So my role is educating the people, not just in my market center, but in the whole area. So we're
Mhm.
bringing together people from all around the country to understand what luxury is in Fort Lauderdale, in the suburbs of Fort Lauderdale, in my area, and not only bringing together people from KW, but from other brokerages as well. So we can
Yeah,
combine our expertise and educate those people that really want to be in luxury, but that don't know how or where or why. And
right.
so we're giving them those tools.
Right. And in your area, so here in Dallas Fort Worth, we consider luxury, as far as Keller Williams is concerned, is 750, right? But 750 in your area is probably could be a one-bedroom condo. What would you say the an average luxury property in that Fort Lauderdale, some of the Miami areas that you cover? What's luxury there? And again, I know you've done 7 million, 10 million, 17 million, but on
What I
average.
would say, if you really want to get into, and it all depends on location. And I'm going to make that very, very clear because I have a contract here, right, right where I live, actually. Beautiful homes, these homes are, $1 million to $2 million properties. If you take that same home and you put it in Fort Lauderdale, they'd be 2 to 3 million. So it
Mhm,
all depends on where you're living. I would say probably, in the area of 2 million plus.
mhm,
You have $1 million properties that are selling right now that need a complete renovation. Like I
mm,
just had a client, I sold him a house 2 years ago. He didn't like it. He wanted to renovate. He said, "Nah, I'm not going to renovate. I'm just going to buy a new one." We just got him under contract at 2.3 million in Fort Lauderdale. A small, 3 bedroom home on the intercoastal. So that's really the kind of money that you need to spend if you want to be really in true luxury. We have a lot of new luxury that's now being built along the coastline, all the way from Miami up to Sunny Isles to Fort Lauderdale. People are moving from Miami to Fort Lauderdale, now to Delray. So Delray Beach is very popular. And people in the mansions in Aquilina, where I had that $17 million penthouse, are moving all the way up to the development that I sold in Diamond Sands in Hutchinson and Hutchinson Island. You know why? Because they're looking at land, they want to buy on the ocean, and they want good value for their money. So it really depends on where you are in South Florida, but it definitely is not cheap.
no. So in South Florida, and again, time is just flying by. Do you guys find you've got a relocation maybe from the Northeast or from all over? Because again, here in Dallas, Fort Worth, we've got folks that are coming in. They believe it's the Californians, but they only make up about 15, 16% of the relocation buyers here. The Midwesterners cover anywhere from 13 to 15%. So they're about balanced with the Californians. If folks are relocating into your area, where are they coming from? And do you
Most
have investors?
Yeah, so I don't really work with investors as much because they want to do flips and houses that I usually don't deal with. So I don't really love working with investors. I work with my business is from my sphere and referral partners. My feeder markets are most specifically the Northeast area. So New York, New Jersey, a lot of people come down. We call them snowbirds. So they're
Yeah.
all coming into South Florida because they want the beautiful sunny weather. It absolutely is beautiful. I also have people from Michigan. We even have people from California that are leaving California. I just had a man and his family. He's moving his warehouse. I do commercial occasionally. So he's moving his warehouse here, and his whole family is now moving to the East Coast. So, but for the most part, it's going to be the East Coast. A lot of people from Georgia, a lot of people from Jersey, like I said. It's the East Coasters and some from the Midwest and California.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, here again in Texas, we've got the Mexicans, the Canadians, we've got the Germans and Asians that from foreign investors that are, you know, they all love Texas again because of the weather, even though I think it's hotter here, but it is what it is, right? We avoid those winters and some of the coal markets because I'm a wimp now myself. I don't like coal, but it is what it is. So
Well, you said investors. I have to say, we're one of the number one states in the country. As a matter of fact, in 2024, we were number one for the most billionaires in the United States and the millionaires and what I call centimillionaires because people love Miami. I know internationally, we have a lot of people from Colombia,
yeah,
all, from a lot of foreign countries investing here. That's why there's such a boom on the coastline because people want the coastline. What's happening is because of the condo industry and the whole Surfside incident and people now having to do what's called SARs and renovations of properties, which is a nightmare, quite frankly, a lot of assessments. They're moving away from that and they're building beautiful high-rise, ultra luxury homes for those that are moving in internationally. And we are proud of that. Like Miami still, whether it's expensive or not, it's a number one destination, I mean, for a lot of different reasons. And I think it will continue to be so.
I agree. And it's interesting. We talked about the ultra luxury here in Dallas. That's considered 10 million and above. I haven't sold one, but Dallas is the number one Texas market over Houston, Austin, San Antonio. Just like your market, right? So at some point, I will. I think it's just a matter of time, but that's okay, right? We're ready for whenever it happens. So, wow, I think we've touched on so much. Is there anything that that I haven't asked, need to ask, or that you'd like to convey in the last, 4 or 5 minutes that we have?
I would like to say, because some people inquire about this, the conversations that you have with your luxury and ultra luxury clients are very different than conversations you have with your regular clients. And what I mean by regular is your 500,000, 250, 3, 750, whatever. Why is that? It just is. When I go to listing appointments, and normally when I go to a listing appointment, I already have it in my head that I have it. So when you go to a listing appointment, and even if there are other people that are competing with you, don't think that way. Think that you are manifest it. It really does work. I walked into a $7.5 million listing. I was the only one she had in there. I had the contract. She signed it right then and there. I double-sided that deal. You could do the same thing. So those conversations are different. And why are they so? Well, the nature of the individual. When you're interviewing with these people, you have to mirror yourself to that person. And what do I mean? Are they dominating? Do they want to take control? Do they want to, do they want to hear from you? Do they want to see the presentation? Or do they really not want to see the presentation? They want to get straight down to the numbers. You have to know that client. And if you don't know them, read them and read them very well. Because once you start doing that, I had a client that came across very intimidating, but he wasn't intimidating to me. I mean, I knew how to handle him. I did, and I got the listing. So you have to make sure that you know and understand them and study them. I had a client that I sold a $7 million house to, and Southwest Ranches. It was his weekend home because they lived in Miami. When I double-sided the deal, he said, "Lori, you're going to have to sell this house in a year if my wife doesn't like it." Well, I could have been the type of client, I mean, the realtor that said, "Oh, wow, that's great. I have another deal," but I didn't. Instead, I found out about her. I knew that she loved horseback riding. I went to the best equestrian center in Southwest Ranches. I bought her 2000 to 2500, I don't remember what it was, package. I bought her 10 private lessons with, horseback riding. I got her a coupon for helmets and all that stuff. They were Jewish, so they didn't walk on Saturday. So I made this beautiful basket with a water bottle and, just in case they needed water. And I wrote them a beautiful letter and hand delivered it. And to this day, they won't forget it. This same couple now, 2 years later, said, "Oh, we want to stay here. We decided we're going to move here permanently." And now they're having their first child, their third, but their first child together in this home. I, made a beautiful basket with baby clothes, would spent like $250, baby clothes, whatever, gave it to her when I just showed her another house. They're buying their third house in Southwest Ranches, gave her that package. you have to listen and pay attention to what's important to them and then deliver on that and do it from the heart.
Amen. 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 I heard manifest. And I think I told you that I expect 2025 to be one of my top two or top 3 years in this business. One, because I'm manifesting it. I told my best buddy yesterday, it's a direct quote from Ben Baker, and I'm going to tell you, until you do it or think you can do it, you'll never do it. Okay. And I think that just goes to manifesting it. You've got to want to work in that luxury sector. You've got to want to serve at a high level. You've got to want to, whatever it is, right? If you haven't done it, then in your mind, you've got to believe that I can do it. I can do it. And then all of a sudden you'll do it. It may
Right.
not happen today, but you will do it if you truly believe it, right? Or you have a Lori St. John who's really kind of your lighthouse. And I know there's a few people on here that know you better than me. I know that, you're a mentor to those people. And they're like, man, she's such a class act. You know what? I can do much of what she's currently doing, and eventually I'll get there too. And again, you didn't get there overnight, but again, you're there, and I applaud your success, sweetheart. Just
And
whew,
I'll tell you the key to it, Ben, is making sure that you align yourself with people that are better than you, and they're
amen.
all over the place. You're always at the bottom. I always think I'm always at the bottom. I have so much to learn. Who the heck am I, right? I'm just one of the many out there. But I align myself with people that I admire. I watch people in California that I'm with, and I look at their videos. I'm like, oh my God, maybe one day I can do that. I watch someone in New Jersey or New York, and I'm like, oh my gosh, he's amazing. And I send them, I love you. I want to do videos like you. I mean, you really have to reach out to people.
Amen.
They want to hear from you, and they're willing to help you. And I think that's the beauty about KW, and that's the beauty I think in humanity. When you're reaching out to other people and you're seeking help, the good people are going to be there for you. They'll tell you, okay, this is how you do that. This is how you do this. Don't be afraid to do that.
I love it. I love everything we've talked about today. I'm more in love with you. I cannot wait for us to get together and break bread. And guys, again, if you didn't get a nugget, if you didn't get a nugget somewhere, then that's a you problem, because because Lori dropped a number of them today. So Barry, wouldn't you agree? I would agree. Right? Lori, yeah. Anything else, sweetheart? You've given us plenty. Anything else?
No, no, I mean that's it. I'm here to answer any questions or whatever. I'm here for you all, not for me.